Hello, this is a introductory video for the fall 8-week 2 of 2024 Accounting 6302 class. I'd like to welcome you here. I'm sorry that this is getting out a couple of days behind. Classes obviously started on Monday, and I see a lot of you have already gotten well into the homework already. That's great to see that you're doing that. But I do want to welcome you all. I want to let you know that if you have any problems with the material, I'm here to help. Email works great for a couple of reasons. One is because I type so slow, oddly enough, I type so slow, it gives me a lot of time to think about what I'm actually saying, how to say it. So email is a great way to answer any questions on problems that you might have. Now, I have constructed this course in modules. There's 4 modules. Each module consists of a number of chapters. The first 2 modules have 5 chapters each. The last 2 modules have 3 chapters each. So the course is very much loaded up front in this class. It is a heavily quantitative course. Now, normally, I don't make so much a big deal of it because both the MPA students and the MBA students have to go through this course to graduate. And so it kind of is what it is. But this semester, there is an opportunity for those of you who might be a little more quantitatively challenged. And by no means take this as I'm trying to get you to drop the class per se. It's only if you think it's in your interest. In the spring semester, we are going to be offering this in a 16-week format. And for those of you who might have a little more difficulty with quantitative classes, if you've had your finance classes yet, or other, your 6301 and you struggled in there somewhat, you might want to consider postponing this class a semester and taking it in the 16-week format. We've had a number of students who said that the material is a lot in 8 weeks, and I agree it is by our accreditation standards. Just because we move it to an 8-week format, we can't change the learning objectives. We have to have the same learning objectives, whether it's a 16-week format or an 8-week format. And so for those of you who, obviously, people who are quantitatively very skilled, people with accounting backgrounds that have had much of this material before, it'll be a review or maybe slightly more in depth for them. They shouldn't have any problem. But for those who actually do struggle with quantitative classes, it's something for you to consider. I'm not going to make you do it one way or the other, obviously. Even if I could, I wouldn't do that. That's not fair to you, the student. But it is. I just want you to be aware that it's an option out there for you. Other than that, it is a bit of a demanding class. It's not unusual for students to spend 18 to 20 hours a week working on this class. That's why I say the 16-week format may benefit you if that is a benefit, then I would encourage you to do that. Other than that, I am here for you. If you have a problem, I can schedule a study session. I generally go to bed by 10, and I am up and moving and showered and exercised by about 10, breakfast and all, about 10 the next morning. So if you need a study session from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., as long as I'm not in class, I'll be happy or a meeting, I'll be happy to schedule something with that. I've helped a number of students over the years on their lunch hours, immediately when they get home from work, those sorts of things. That's no problem. We can do that on Teams, a video chat. Again, email works very great if you're having problems. If you know what specifically you're having a problem with, email works really well with that. I do have videos of samples of how to work problems. All the sample problems come out of your text, so those are available to you. And I have example tests, old tests, basically example tests, where and then I work the solutions for those. Those are posted in the modules, and so there's a lot of resources in the modules. Additionally, the Student Success Center has some accounting tutors. This is very much in their wheelhouse. This level of accounting is very much in their wheelhouse. The two I know that are working down there are actually excellent students, and they know this material pretty well, and they can help you get hold of the Student Success Center if that is an avenue. Sometimes it helps just to hear it from a slightly different perspective. I learned it one way, and I teach it pretty much the way I learned it. There have been a few modifications over the years, but cost and managerial accounting is one of the things. I was just talking to a student in here doing advising. Cost and managerial accounting, the last new thing was in the 80s, the balanced scorecard, which you'll study towards the end of this semester. Kaplan and Norton created that in the 80s. Before that, it was just in time and throughput accounting. That was in the 70s, very much influenced by the Japanese manufacturing style, the Kanzan just in time manufacturing abilities. And then before that, you have to go back to the 1930s. This is where and actually it was kept a secret, but the DuPont Corporation created a lot of what we do in managerial. They were the leading producer of dynamite, and they figured out a number of things that helped them be very, very profitable. Many of those were actually managerial accounting. Some of those were strategic. So much so that when General Motors was put together, they hired Alfred DuPont of the DuPont Company to be the first president of General Motors and bring his knowledge of managerial accounting and strategic emphasis to General Motors, and he obviously made it the number one car company in the world for several decades. Obviously, Toyota now is the world's largest car company, and a lot of that was the adoption of just-in-time and Kaizen throughput type processes. You'll also learn a little bit about theory of constraints in here. We talk a little bit about strategy. Obviously, this is not going to replace your 6366, which is a whole class on strategy, but you'll have the concepts of strategy, some raw concepts of strategy, and then how the managerial accounting fits into those strategic concepts. I have heard authors who talk about, strategy is the most important thing. Larry Bossidy wrote a book, it's up here on my shelf, called Execution. And he was one of the founders of Home Depot. And, and he talks about the tactics and the execution of what you're trying to do as being the most important thing. And the truth, there's a little bit of truth in both of those, but the real truth is that you need a balance. You can have the greatest strategy in the world, but if you don't execute, then you've got nothing. And likewise, you can be extremely efficient, but if you're efficient in the manual typewriter business, you're not going to have a very profitable company. There's not much call for manual typewriters anymore. So, strategy is important, execution is important, and putting all these things together. The accounting side of it is we measure it. And how do you measure some of those things like throughput and costs and that sort of thing? And that's what we attempt to do in this course. But the biggest thing I want you to get from this introductory video is that I am here for you, and I'm more than willing to help you. I'm generally in the office about 6 to 7 hours a day. And then I go home and I work from home for 2 or 3 hours often after dinner. So I'm more than willing to help you to get this material however I can. So let me know what your needs are, and I'll be happy to help you with that. So good luck to the semester. I will advise you to stay up on your homework. The tests are every 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks come fast in this class. So just be aware of that. And I hope you have a great semester. So we will talk to you later.